Howdy, Axe. No football today, but no problem. I'm going to get you some content so that we can get you from this weekend to next weekend when we play South Carolina. Your Aggies are regrouping currently after a gritty effort in Tuscaloosa, almost coming away with a win against Alabama. What a win that would have been. Interesting times we've got here going on. So the season's not turning out the way that we thought that it might. And so what we want to do is go ahead and reevaluate. So we want to take a look at and see what the rest of the season is going to look like, maybe project some wins and some losses and kind of make sense of who your Aggies are going to play the rest of the way. And maybe we'll figure out along the way what we can actually accomplish. You know, we got 6 games left. Maybe 6-0 is possible. It could be 0-6, right? I mean, we've seen some different things this year, and so we don't really know what to do with that. It's rumored that maybe Weigman might get the start this next week when we go to South Carolina. But who knows? Who knows what's going to take place? Haynes King's been in a bit of a boot, it seems, so some precautionary stuff going on there, of course. You got to get somebody the number 1 reps, and so Connor makes the most sense. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to talk about more than just the outlook for this season. I want to also talk to you in this bye week about what the fan engagement looks like, or the fan experience is like at Kyle Field. Give you some ideas, and I'd really love to get some ideas from you all as I hopefully provoke the creative juices and see what we can kind of come up with. I want to direct that directly at Mr. Ross Bjork, and I got some stories to tell you about that. And then let's talk about when's the right time to fire Jimbo. When is it coming up? Is it close? What are we looking at when it comes to that? So a lot of stuff to talk about. And this is going to help me get through to next week as well. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing it. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. As Mattress Mac says, you know, if you go ahead and do that, it'll save you money. Again, not true because it's already free. But there's no reason you shouldn't do it because it is free. And I guess it'll save you money. So do it. So first up, we've got South Carolina, right? They've got Spencer Rattler over there now. You probably knew, but you probably haven't watched much, so you're kind of wondering, well, how's he doing? Not bad. He's probably picked up about where he left off with Oklahoma. And logo is probably not as in demand, though. But last outing, he went for 177 yards, threw for a TD. They're back, Marshall Lloyd. He ran for 111. He added another TD, and they won a game against number 13 Kentucky. Yes, you heard that correctly, number 13 Kentucky. A team I think that was actually ranked as high as number 9, and they beat them. So this team's on the upswing here. So we're going to their place, and it's going to be an interesting game to see what we can do coming off a bye week, right? We're hoping to get some things figured out, solidify some things, make more sense, and execute, right? We want to execute. So can we do that more consistently? That's going to be the big question coming up against South Carolina. After that, though, we, I believe, are welcoming in Ole Miss. Yeah, and they're currently 6-0, and I believe, as of our last check, they were winning against Auburn, but it was close. So they're going to play LSU, I believe, next week. So they figure to be 8-0 when they come to Kyle Field. And this was a game I had highlighted earlier in the season. Actually, it was the preview for the season. I thought this was going to be the linchpin for our season, but I thought the first half would obviously go much different than it has. And I thought this would be the difference between figuring out if we could be somewhere in the area of 11-1, 10-2. And that's just not going to be the case, obviously, at this point. But it is probably the linchpin on whether or not we can be 9-3. So it's a big game, really big game. It won't matter if we don't win against South Carolina. But the thing is if we do win that game, then we're going to be beating, I believe, a currently ranked top 10 team. It'll be our 3rd ranked win of the season. And not many teams can say that. So we win against Lane Kiffin's team, and then what? We've got Florida after that, the Minutemen, and then LSU to cap it off. So we're beating a strong team if we can do that. So I think it's a really, really big game. So you got Jackson Dart. Not sure what he did today, but recently they played Vandy. He went for 448 through the air, 3 TDs, big outing there. You know, they've got Zach Evans as well, the transfer from TCU that was once committed to us. Kind of went way back and forth, and of course you can imagine the way back and forth. But with all the volatility that's in him, he's pretty consistent on the field. He's not exactly their featured back, but he also kind of is. So he went off for 80 last game, and I think as the last I checked, he was leading this week, and he was somewhere looking to put together about a $100 bill on the ground. So he is going to be something we're going to have to contend with in that game. We haven't stopped the run well. And we don't figure to be doing that very often or in the near future. So it's kind of a concern, but they are a throwing team, but they throw to run, much like Mississippi State does. So we are going to need to put together one here. And part of the conversation, I think, for the Aggies right now is what kind of momentum do we have? Are we on the upswing? Or are we just kind of playing even kill? Even if we are on the upswing and we're kind of trending up, can we get enough so that we can go in there and beat that team? It's a high-scoring team, right? I mean, you figure you're going to need to score at least 24. I mean, that's what we've kind of been around to beat this team. We had, what, 21 against Alabama? Okay, didn't get the 24. Not going to win. That's what they got. We need 24 to be in the game. So if we can get that, maybe we can get the win. Next up after that is Florida. They're currently 4-2. Need to check and get an update and see what they're going to do today. But they still have LSU coming up, and then they've got to play Georgia, and they're going to play Georgia the week before us. So nice timing for us to get the Gators right after Georgia's going to get through with them. You know, Anthony Richardson, he's a top 100 passer. He kind of put up some pedestrian numbers, though, against Missouri. He's averaging a INT per game. So nothing's wowing me right now. But you've seen him make some plays, and he could go out any given Saturday and make those plays and then beat us. They've also got 2 quality backs. But, you know, again, nothing wowing you there. But, again, they might look like superstars against our run defense. Maybe we'll like to transition into that 4-man front like we've been talking about, like we saw against Alabama. That seemed to work quite well. We'll see. My thought on this game really is just I think any momentum that they think they've got at this point, it's probably looking to get smashed by Georgia. And then having them the week after, I'm hoping that we're going to get some gain there and come away with a win based off of you know, a little bit of a down play week for them, since they would have probably gotten up as big as they probably could the week before. But we still got to play Auburn and LSU, and Auburn seems to be on the upswing. They're not really getting Tank Bigsby the ball really well right now, so the run game's not that strong. So that's a good thing. They're 3-3. I believe they're going to be 3-4 after this game, and it looks like they could very easily, after they play Arkansas and Ole Miss, be 3-6 coming into our game and be fighting for a bowl game berth. Although they'd have to win three in a row at that point. So it's not the 6th game that they're going to need. So they're not going to have that kind of motivation, right? But they also got a lot going on with all this Harsin talk. And I mean, people are thinking this guy might just get fired any day now. And it's a lot of distractions. But my thought here is that, you know, they're going to have to prove to me that they can kind of get over that and play well. And they put together a pretty good effort today. Maybe they're rallying. It's tough to say, but I'm thinking we're also going to be trending up a little bit between now and then as well, getting some things figured out. I think our team is starting to gel and become more cohesive. So I look for a solid effort here from our defense, and the same from our offense. Now, again, nothing lights out, but probably enough to get the win. After that, it's the Minutemen, so that's going to be a bit of a tune-up for LSU. And then we're going to face them and these Tigers, who have quietly put together a top 60 offense and a top 30 defense. I don't think we would have thought that before the season. We got Kelly over there, and he's seemed to muck some stuff up. But again, they're quietly making a little bit of noise and playing pretty good. I think the story here with this game is really going to end up being a lot about where are these teams at the end of the season, right? So last game of the season, are we all banged up still? Have we got some folks back? Have we taken a tough loss and it's looking like a 7-5 season, or maybe even a 6-6 season? Maybe we're not going to play up to our game. I doubt that's the case even then, because Jimbo's teams have proven that they're going to continue to keep playing. However, the other side is them. Where are they at? Are they looking down? Are they trending up? Are they vying for something at the time, right? So the last couple times we've taken some tough losses for them. I remember the Les Miles retirement. I thought we were going to get that one right. They jump up and bite us on that one. Same thing with the Ed O situation. Should have won that one, didn't. So really tough there. But some things got in the way. We remember the call. Blah blah blah. We've got Max, who transferred over. Maybe they're looking for some, statement win because of that, like they got abandoned or something. Who knows? Tough to say. I think what we're looking at here, because if we're going to work all that in, we'd also say, well, maybe this is a revenge game for us, and maybe it means a little bit to these players to get that win that they felt like they should have had last year. All that's probably true, but I think it's going to come down to who's trending and where the teams are at. That's what I really think. So if I'm going to go back through these real quick and give you my thoughts on them, we haven't lost to South Carolina since we came in the SEC. I don't think that starts next weekend. I don't. I think Ole Miss is probably going to be a little bit too much for us, and I'm going to go an L there. And when I'm looking up and down the schedule, I'm trying to figure out where the L's are going to take place, because I don't have a good reason to suspect that we're going to go 6-0. Why would I predict 6-0 at this point? Probably shouldn't, because I'm here to give you a realistic prediction. So I don't see that coming. It's possible, but I just give it a very low percentage chance, and I'll talk about the percentages on those as well. Florida, I still think they're going to come up with some of those depth issues I talked about in the beginning of the season. And I think we've got enough that we can get this win as well. Auburn, I still feel like that there's a lot going on with this team. And the less turmoil you've got has proven to be very beneficial, especially in the long run. So I think we get the win there. Minutemen, put it down. W, weirder things have happened. I'm not going to rule out the loss. It's just very low percentage. I would not predict a loss there. And then finally, LSU. I think we're going to go get this one. I think it's our turn to win on this one. I think we're going to go out and do what it takes. And I've got us going 5-1 the remainder of the season. I give that a 50-50 shot on that one. I think I'm a little bit lower than that. I think I'm about a 35% chance of going 5-1. 6-0, I'm probably 10% or less. It's just not a great bet considering the way we've played so far and what we've showed. I think it's very possible, but man, I'd be very interested to see how we play against South Carolina to figure out whether or not 6-0 is actual possibility. So 10% or less for 6-0, 30-35% for 5-1. To go 4-2, I think this is easily a 50-50 shot. So I don't have us going less than a 50-50 chance of going 7-5. And for us to and think of it this way, I don't think we're going to go 3-3, but for us to get at least 3 wins, I think is definitely a 75% chance. Okay, so I think we're a 75% chance of at least 3 wins. But as the wins go up, obviously the probability is going to go down. But I don't think it's a 75% chance that we're going to go 3-3. Okay, so I think that's kind of on the other side. I think we've got about a 35% chance of going that as well. Okay, so Make of that what you will. All those percentages shouldn't add up perfectly because it's a different way of looking at them on whether or not you can get the wins versus how the season's going to turn out, right? So keep that as you will. What do you think we're going to do? You think we're going to get some wins here and there? Which ones do you think pose the biggest threat? Is it Ole Miss, like I've got? Auburn's been a pretty tense rivalry too. You know, that a lot of that back and forth and some streaks going on there, home and away. And LSU, wouldn't we like to get that one, right? I'd love to get that one back. So I really think that one's going to happen. I can't wait to see it. So moving on, I'd like to now talk to you about something that's been on me for about 3 years now, and I kind of give you some evidence of that. This one is directed right at Mr. Bjork, so I will caption him in this at some point. And he's a good guy. He's reachable, I think, and I've got the evidence to show it. Look, so here's the deal. I reached out to him about 3 years ago and just kind of said, I think that the game day atmosphere and engagement has all the potential in the world. And it's a lot of untapped potential because every Saturday in the fall, not every Saturday, but every Saturday that Kyle Field hosts a game, you've got the best fan base in college football in one spot, 100,000 of them. So there's a lot of resources that can be tapped here, right? So I reached out to him, and he got back to me. Uh, that was very unexpected. He put me in touch with this guy named Mike Wright, who has, I believe, since moved on, is over at Sam Houston State. Great guy. Um, Gave me a call, and we talked about game day engagement. Okay, and I kind of gave him some thoughts on what I thought worked well, what I don't think worked well, and kind of what's going on. You're, I'm sure, very aware if you've been to a game, how long the timeouts are. There's a lot of waiting time. Seems to be a lot of timeouts, right? And they put that marker up. I call it the red marker of death because it's like a 3-minute, 30-second situation going on. And every time it comes out, it's just like, oh my gosh, when is this going to be over? Oh, it feels like I'm sitting through biology 101 again or something. Just, oh, can we please make this stop? There's like 400 dudes in this class, and I'm like one of, I don't know. I need some help is what I'm saying in that situation. So there are some good things that are going on, but one of the things that we're kind of contending with now is the environment that you can get when you're at home and you can watch it on a screen and you get the best views and the best coverage and all the reruns, and man, it's really great. The secondary problem is that the tickets are so much these days. So who wants to pay $200-300 to go to a game when you can sit at home and watch it and get a great experience there? Well, fans need a reason to go to the game other than just to be at the game. All that stuff's great. I mean, I go for that, and I'm a diehard fan, right? So you need to understand there's two types of fans. There's the diehard fan, and there's the casual fan. For us to make it the best game day atmosphere there is, we have to do things also that are going to engage the casual fan. So what are those things? And there are some great things. And if you are a casual football fan but an Aggie, there are some amazing things that you can, that you probably do like that are going on here. Let me name a few of my favorites real quick. I'd love to hear what are yours as well. Put them in the comments. This is a comment-rich section episode that I'm doing here. So some of my favorite things are these. The spirit of Aggieland. I love it when the stadium's spelling out Texas, right? And Aggie. I mean, the raucous in that stadium is amazing when that's happening. The flyover, the fourth quarter war hymn, a halftime show. Anytime we're forming at the north end of Kyle Field, that's hearing the stadium chant that is just simply amazing. Okay, so I like the sports donor recognitions. I also like the sports teams recognitions. I like the Whataburger fry shuffle as well. I'll be honest with you, it's not my favorite, but the fans like it. You can tell by the way they get into it. And so this is kind of a jumping off point, right? But I do want to list one more thing because I think we've gone away from it this year so far, but that's the DJ. Um, Where's the DJ gone? I would like to get that DJ back. The music has gotten better in my opinion, and the fans are getting into that quite a bit more. Um, so yeah, these are some of the things that I am really into. Are there things I left out? Mention them in the comments. Let me know because um, thinking about these things are what give us the ideas, I think, of how to enhance the game day environment. So I'll mention one more thing here because this is what took me to the next spot to actually reach out and DM um, uh, Bjork, is that we did a field goal kick for tuition. So students came out, they did a field goal kick, and then they got, if they made it, then they got like, I don't know, $1,000 off their semester tuition or something. Can you, this engaged the fans in a level that has actually been unmatched, except for when Seth Small was kicking that field goal at the end of the Alabama game. I mean, almost every person was tuned in on this field goal kick, right? Just like they were on that end of the game kick by Small. So I'm talking about the field goal kick by the student for the tuition. I mean, people were into that. It was awesome. So we need more stuff like that, especially in the down moments, because there is a lot of downtime with these 3.5 minute timeouts. The band plays. I love that as well. I like to hear the different renditions they've got for certain songs and stuff, right? But they don't always play. Um, oh, one other favorite I've got is when we hit um, that third beat the hell out of whoever we're playing before they come out, right? And so we usually do about two, but when they're taking a little bit longer, we hit that third and sometimes that fourth, and that goes crazy. So those are some of my favorite things. But how can we upgrade? Um, well, to upgrade the fan experience, you've got to think about what encompasses the full experience. So it's not just the in-game time. There's also from the time you get into Aggie Land and then from the time you get on campus. Now, there's a lot of tailgating going on, which is extremely engaging, which all the fans and everybody out doing that is taking care of themselves, right? So we're all enjoying that part. Once you get into the stadium, then it's on athletics, I think, to work through the engagement. And here are some ways I think that we can enhance the entire experience, right? So once you get into the stadium, I do want to point out a couple things that they've done differently recently that just make things better, right? Because part of the experience is concessions. Now, I want to get into entertainment mostly, but concessions is still a big deal. We don't want to be waiting in long lines, and they have addressed this, and they've done a really good job at it. I really like this year that they've gone to the free refills. And I would even take that one step further and say, can you buy a drink for the season, bring my cup back, whatever it may be, and use that cup for the whole season? That way I don't even have to go through the line, and that just cuts down a lot more traffic, so you can get in and get out, or those lines are used for getting you stuff that takes longer to get instead of actually serving out drinks, right? So that's a smart idea, something that they've done to make concessions better. But really trying to harness the experience. Um, let me talk about some upgrades, and I've got a few things that will engage the casual fan as well as the diehard fan, like you and myself, right? Um, and these are just they're kind of whimsical things. They're not even like, it's just like the Whataburger game, like the fry shuffle. That's so stupid, but it works. And so most of these things are actually just going to be like really stupid ideas. But when you Aggieise them, as I say, and you do them on the field, and you bring some Aggie centric things to them, they make sense. Let me just give you a stupid example. Aggie musical chairs. Okay, here's how this looks to me. You bring in folks like Jay Arnold, uh, Spencer Neely, Stephen McGee. I mean, go down the list. Javorsky Lane, uh, 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 Leon O'Neal. I mean, Miles Garrett, whoever you want. I mean, some of these guys, you might not be able to get to all the time, and you're looking for some older acts, perhaps, right? I'd love to see Ryan Swope, Ryan Tannehill, Uzoma Wachiku. I can, just go down the list here, right? Maybe even some Quentin Coriat or something like that, right? That'd be awesome. But you bring in Aggies, you have them play musical chairs, and you think that the fans won't be into that. The fans will, I think, be so into that the same way they were the flag football game uh, at the maroon and white game. So it's just one way you kind of Aggieize it, and you make it something that is just stupid and whimsical, but it engages the fans for all of 1 minute and 30 seconds. And you could mix in some fans with this. You could do lots of things. I do think it would be a great idea to put together an MC or some type of hype team. I think you need a separate situation, like department sort of kind of running this. And I'm really talking about more of a field crew or a stadium crew. People that are going out into the crowd and finding people to participate in certain things, right? Because you definitely want to get the fans involved in certain things. So here's another idea I think you could work in, where what you do is you have a foot race. It's very simple. It's a foot race. Not so simple, right? Because then you Aggieize it, whatever you want to call it. You get somebody, a former Aggie, not a former Aggie, former player, and let's just say it's Johnny Manziel, right? And you put them in a full body suit. Can't tell who they are, but they're on the field and they're getting ready to race. You picked 3 fans from the stands, and they have an opportunity to race this person on foot 40 yards. And they can choose the 10, the 20, the 30-yard line, something like that, and they have to beat them. If you beat them all the way from the goal line to the 40, you get a bigger prize. From the 10 to the 40, so you're only running 30 to their 40, bigger prize, right? So here's the idea, though. All the fans don't know who they're racing, but at the end, when you figure out and they reveal themselves, everybody's watching because, one, it's a foot race and they want to see who's going to win. Second, they want to know who is going to pop out of this suit and reveal themselves. What Aggie is this, right? And you could, it doesn't have to be Johnny Manziel, but the point is that it's engaging to the fans. At least I think it would be. Maybe you don't. Okay, so this is kind of a marketplace of fan engagement ideas. You could feel free to tell me what you think would work really well and what wouldn't work really well, and then put your ideas in the comments, because this is kind of like a crowdsourcing situation. I just want to give you these to kind of get the juices flowing. I've got, say, 20 or 30 of these things going on, but I'd like to, this is almost like a sales pitch. Hey, Ross, here's what we can do, man. We can do some things like this. We have to have an open mind, and we have to be willing to not just say no to things to make this better. I want to give you an example real quick, something I saw that other places are doing. How about, yeah, here we go. This is something that's happening at Cowboy Stadium. So it's a kiosk, right? And you go, and this lady, she's selecting players from the Cowboys. As you see, as she selects them, one person pops out, another pops in. Okay, so she selects everybody that she wants. They stand back, they get in position, they're supposed to huddle up, right? Now watch what happens once they got huddled up. See all the players coming in? So this is a digital version of all these players coming in. You can take a picture with them. So this is a kiosk that just exists outside in like the pavilion area. So as you walk into Kyle Field, or you come up on one of the levels, you could do something like this, right? How cool would that be to have something like that where you could take pictures with, former Aggies, current Aggies on the team, and all sorts of different things, right? It's just an example, I don't really want to do something that somebody else is, but it's another way to get the creative juices flowing. So think about this, something along those lines. Here's another simple idea. How about an eating contest? Let's get some Fuego tacos out there. Let's get again, Jay Arnold, Spencer Neely, I don't know, whoever else thinks that they can put down some food, maybe like Patrick Lewis or something like that. Put a couple fans out there, and let's see how many tacos they can eat in 1 minute. Or let's see who can finish a Lane's chicken tender basket the quickest. First one done wins, right? And if you can beat these guys, like you could give away merch. Um, you could give away, like I said, tuition. You could give away free concessions. You could do seat upgrades. Um, I mean, you can do all sorts of things with these. One other thought I had was memorabilia as well. So the sky's the limit, depending on what you want to allow and what you can keep your mind open to. I'd love to see an Aggie ring dunk take place, on the pavilion. On the north side, on either side, there's two pavilions, right? And you can do a lot of stuff over there. You can put up booths over there, um, where you could do these crazy things. You can also do theme nights. We've done theme nights before. We could do more of them. You can make them a little bit more interactive. Um, you can, I mean, again, the sky is the limit on these things, right? Um, Last thing I kind of want to pitch to you is what's kind of called like micro betting. Um, so take the gambling aspect out of it though, because I know it says bet, but don't really intend for there to be any gambling going on. But the idea is that from play to play, series to series, on your phone with your app, you can do things like, okay, guess who is going to make the next tackle, who's going to make the next catch. Uh, are they going to get a first down in this next play? You can come up with so many different creative things to do from play to play. You enter your selection in, make your choice, and then from there, you accumulate these and tallies up through the course of the game. And I don't know, your top person gets a awesome prize. You award your top 50 folks, something free at the concession stand. Number one person gets a seat upgrade, gets to go spend some time in a suite or something like that. Um, you know, that would get people engaged in the moment to moment and the downtime. We got to cut out, in my opinion, all the downtime, all the idle time. And to do these kinds of things, you got to have the open mind, but then you also got to be willing to plan these things out and get them ready. We got so many Aggies in there. This could be so amazing because of the awesome fan base that we've got. But I think that the time to do this, you have to do kind of like a beta test, right? You do this to the spring game, and you test all these things out during your spring game. When else? It's perfect time. You can have all the flub ups you need and get things worked out, and then you can make this place in the fall the best anybody's ever seen. But um, yeah, a lot of stuff out there that could be harnessed. So we'll see what this gets or what comes of this. Nothing much came of the last time that I got to speak with anybody about this. So who knows? I have an open mind as well, and I'm willing to think that we're maybe ready to try some things out and take some risks. Let's take some risks, right? When do you think it's time to fire Jimbo? Uncomfortable topic, right? When should Jimbo be fired? It's out there, right? It's been talked about. Not really by many Aggies. We're not really there, so it's really kind of troubling and frustrating that so many people are talking about it when we're not really there. And if I was going to put a barometer on this for myself at the moment, I'd probably say, I'm at like a 5 out of 10. 10 being like you're on the hot seat and like things have got to happen like this game, this season, or else kind of situation. I'm not at the or else kind of spot. And I've got my reasons for that. And I think most of those reasons are the reasons how you know when to fire a coach. So go back couple regimes, right? Think about that. When did we fire someone? What was it that push us over the edge for Sumlin. And I actually, full disclosure, was not a proponent of letting him go at the time. Now, that was actually contingent, though, because I was in a stage where my belief was that we didn't have anyone that we would be able to hire that was better. Now, of course, I was wrong about that. Now, if I had known that, I would have been for that. Because I think the first way you figure out whether or not you need to move on is, can you make progress? Can you make any more progress? If you can't make any more progress, then it's probably time to move on. But you have to wait until you've got someone better. You can't move on to something worse. That would be way, way worse thing to do. So that's a two-part situation. If there's no progress to be made anymore, or you just don't believe in the person that they can make any more progress with the team, and there's somebody better, move on, right? Because you've hit your peak. Some folks could probably say at this moment, maybe we're not making any progress. Okay, that's a legitimate point. Our offense is really floundering. There's been a lot of talk back and forth about whether or not this offense can even take us to the next level, or if it's really holding us back. Those might be true. If they are true, then I'm prepared to upgrade probably at the end of this season. Definitely will be reevaluating that, upgrading that through the middle of next season at this point, a year from now. And I'll need to see it for sure. Otherwise, I'm going to be probably up near the 7 or 8 situation minimum. We'd have to see more. However, once that's shown to me, I can evaluate it then. But right now, I'm just not there. I think we saw and we have continued to see enough progress that I don't believe that that's worth conversation to say we're not making any progress. There's also other ways to make progress, right? We made huge strides in recruiting, huge, massive strides in recruiting. So that's part of progress too. You can't just look at one spot and say, well, we're not progressing here, so therefore it's got to be over. It's still got to be a net loss taking place for the progress aspect of it, right? The second way I think you would probably go about doing this is gauging whether or not the coach has lost the team. And that's, of course, a general term, and what does it mean for the team to be lost? We can try and figure all that out, but I think you know it when you see it, and when a coach has lost the team, it's time to move on. Do you think Jimbo's lost the team? I'll be asking this question a year from now for sure, or at the end of this season as well. Has he lost the team? Right now, absolutely not. He's not lost the team at all. No way. No way he's lost the team. They still believe in this guy. And when they stop believing in this guy, I think we'll see it in their play. Okay, but that's not the case right now. So I don't think he's on the hot seat. I don't think it's anywhere even close to the hot seat right now. But I think placing it at about a 5 is reasonable, because that way we can upgrade this to something that's much warmer if we need to, rather than just saying we're going to go from like a 2 all the way up to an 8. Where'd that happen? Well, if you went all the way up to an 8, man, you probably were overlooking some things if you were still at a 2 beforehand, right? Right. So that's where I'm at with that. I guess my final thought for this is, whenever I looked back also at the Fran era, we had that last game against Texas, and man, they played lights out that game. And it was like, okay, man, wow, should we actually be moving on from this guy? I think that game served as confirmation that progress was being halted on purpose. And so we had aspects of the team having been lost because of that. And failure to switch up was confirmation that we needed somebody to take us into the next era. So lots to think about when it comes to this, but I don't think we're anywhere close to the hot seat. Don't let people get us riled up. All they're trying to do is make waves, clickbait, put us on blast, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, lots of fun stuff. So looking for 5-1 out of this team. I'd love to see 5-1. maybe go get a bowl victory after that. That'd be fantastic. I'd love to see somebody do something different when it comes to fan engagement. And finally, let's see where we're at the end of the season before we start talking any more hot seat business, okay? So that's that. Preview for South Carolina coming up. If you've made it this far, again, like and subscribe so you can get the preview to your front doorstep, or to your fingertips, I guess, right? And until the next go-round, thanks again.